you know, being being vulnerable on social media is not vulnerability. It is actually looking for validation. And girl, like, I can't think of anything that's too much truer. And it's really a scary subject to broach, because we have all, like, immediately I started thinking about myself and like posts that I have made. And at times when you're just like, I just need something, and not sure what you want. And you feel like that's a way, especially like for me and you, we're creative writers. So even expressing ourselves creatively gives us a little bit of something.
Right.
And from that place of like, well, this is what really happened to me, but it still doesn't fix the problem usually. And the feedback, even if you get feedback, it still doesn't make the thing better.
No, it doesn't. It just makes people say, don't worry, you're strong, and I'm so sorry you're going through that, and give you, the little daily devotional blurb of the day.
The
and make
scripture
you feel,
of the day.
Yeah, cookie thing of the day. But you're still in your situation. Like, you're in your situation. It doesn't change. And I don't know, I thought about it too. I can think of like so many places that I was more hurt than I was, I kind of gave off like, I'm so tired. Like, I can't stress out. Like, I can't do anymore. And then when you think about it though, you think about like portions of your life where you don't know where you got the strength from, and it was way more than what you were going through in that moment. Or even if it wasn't, but you just see yourself juggling all kinds of things, going through all types of physical or emotional pain, and being able to carry on when no one's looking or when no one even knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
And so I do think that social media has given us this stage, I guess, and we're addicted to it.
And we're addicted to it. It was interesting because she was talking about Nahum in the Bible, and she was talking about how he went to this prophet, and he's expecting the prophet to come out and like wave his hands over him and do all this like stuff. And she was like, sometimes we don't want to get healed. We want drama. We want like the drama that's attached to it. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God. Right. He wanted like a whole thing to happen, and his servants were like, but didn't you come to get healed? Like, if he had told you to do some like amazing thing, you would have done it. But all he wants you to do is go dip in the river 7 times, and you don't want to get healed now because he didn't come out and like wave his hands over you.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's we want to feel like special. We want to feel like, I don't know, like when we're suffering through something or going through something, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it triggers something to be the special one. Yeah. The squeaky wheel. Give me all the oil. Like,
I'm the only one that this is happening to, and no one ever else has had problems like
Can't
mine.
You see I'm hurting? Can't you see it's a tough life for me? Like,
okay, Annie.
Baby girl, right?
Okay.
Right? I'm from the school of hard knocks. Like, aren't we all?
Yeah, aren't we all? But I think that's probably, because we want it to be like, no one's ever been through the struggles I've been through. And the crazy thing is, like, you don't lose your uniqueness in having similar situations as others. It actually is, I don't know, dare I say helpful? Because number one, you can get help from some people, and then other people you can help them heal. So it's like, we're kind of in this together.
That though also makes me think there's like a thing about accountability. So if you and I if I'm going through something and you have been through it and you made it through, then like it behooves me to figure out how to like, get myself or do what I have to do to move through it. It's harder to do that than to just sit in it and be like, whoa, it's me. And then I have to make sure that you feel like, and that I'm convincing myself and the rest of the world that my situation is so much worse. Like, see, I can't just get a job. Okay, I can't just do that like you did. You're lucky. You're blessed. Okay, me, I've got
blessed.
Hashtag humbled. You hashtag girl. I mean, it's so much easier for us to just be like, girl, I'll never understand it, girl. There's no way to understand hashtag humble. There's no way.
Okay.
I just want to tell everybody, y'all don't know what I've been dealing with, but God has been doing a work in my life. Hashtag humbled. Hashtag. It's like, what? Kind
That's
of
why you're on
vague
here.
testimony is that?
And that's a perfect example because it's like it's super vague.
Mm-hmm.
You want validation.
Mm-hmm.
But if God is doing a work in your life, if things are changing and things are moving, it's, usually you don't have time for all that.
You too busy giving glory where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is not the place. Like, you too busy changing your life and letting it be a living testimony.
A living testimony.
But it is something that need to make your situation extraordinary so that the stories of success don't apply to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can just sit in it.
I think that's a big accountability is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. I think that so often, we want to be able to show everybody else what they got going on, but you don't want to, or we don't want to like look at ourselves and be like, okay, I have to do better, and I'm willing to allow someone to say to me, girl,
just get up.
I'm gonna need you to do better. I'm gonna need you to do better on today, and that goes back to the vulnerability piece. One of the things that she was saying was like, when you're truly vulnerable, you're gonna be vulnerable with somebody that you really trust, and that you really trust to speak words of wisdom to you. Being vulnerable is not something that you can do usually on a mass scale. Like sometimes, the platform is right, or, your intentions are in the right space. But usually when it's time for you to really be vulnerable, you first have to be that way with yourself. And then you need to talk to somebody that you really trust, to be in that space. And like you said, you're actually ready to be held accountable for where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
Because people,
Well, it seems also, when you see those things on Facebook too, you're not, like you said, you're not really looking for accountability. You're not looking for that trusted friend to give you anything. You just want people to be like, oh my God, wow, like, this is bad, and wow, girl, how are you breathing? You are so strong.
So
I could
amazing.
never, girl. And you're just like, it's not any advice. It's not, and I know, because maybe not intentionally, consciously, but I've done it where you go in there. I'm so stressed out. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through the week. Mother of 3, hashtag, this and that. I mean, and people send you a message like, girl, yes, it's so hard. I get it. Like, but you have the most noble profession on the earth. You're a mother, and you're so strong. You're stronger than you think. You make it look easy. You're one of the best moms I've ever. Like, all these things that ultimately, honestly, don't even really make me feel better. It's not even like the words that make you feel better. I feel like for a lot of people, it's the amount of people who responded. It's not even what they said. It said 175 people liked it and gave you hearts and care and thumbs up, and like, it's not even about.
It's an ego boost.
Yes.
It's an ego boost, and maybe that's a little bit of it. It's like it's rather than it being like a vulnerability issue. It's like, I don't want to get better. I want a shot of ego boost. Can you just give me a shot on the arm, pat on the back, heart emoji, Send me some encouraging words. And now I've been on your mind for a full 30 seconds. You know,
Right, until you scroll on
and you'll tell me that you're going to pray for me and you don't.
Oh my gosh. Prayers Up is one of the ones that like.
Up where?
Prayers Up. Prayers going up. Like you type that. Did you really take a moment and say, God, like I'm lifting up my sister to you right now because she's going. Did you take that moment, or did you just say prayers up, heart emoji, and then like scroll on? I mean, that's what most people do.
Yeah.
But you know, so we have to realize that it's
listen, if people had a prayer life like that, girl,
you know,
this world would be a different place.
Oh my goodness, completely different place. Completely different place. I think too, you know, it's fun.
Sorry, now it's so fun because this thing has like kind of opened my mind a lot, and I think it's things that were already like on the surface or under there or in there or whatever. But like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like actually really a circus. It really is.
I mean, there'll be a day when we all. I don't know what it's gonna take for us to have that moment of clarity, right? where we look back and say, what on earth? Like, for example, the other day I was talking to, you know, my biggest boy, and he was talking about how when he was younger, how cringy he was because he could reread things that he wrote and ways that he said it or whatever. And I laughed because I was just like, I said, but that's because you're from that generation, man. I don't have things like that other than pictures of me with bangs and whatever. But like, you know,
certain
like,
moments,
you know, but I don't have like with social media where everything's captured forever. So I wonder what it will take for some of us to like go back and look at what we were talking about with the time that we had. Like it will be the first generation maybe, or maybe my dad's generation because he's on Facebook, but like to like go through and reach, like to have been on Facebook for a long period of time before we were already like, you know, aged, and when we are in our 80s, be able to still be posting on Facebook or looking back at things on Facebook. It'll be like 30 years ago.
Wow.
You and Miss Shay became friends or whatever, you know?
I never thought about that because like when they started putting out those like 10 years ago, I was like, have I been with you 10 years?
Girl.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't even believe like some of them. I was just like, time flies. But when that happens, are we going to cringe at some of that? We're going to be like, oh, I can't believe I said that. That was a post that what was I looking for? What did I need? Like it did nothing. And that situation wasn't that deep. Or the situation was deep and what I should have been doing was this and not this.
And not this.
Yeah, you know? Like I just wonder how that'll play out, because I feel like even so many of us are so stuck in it that we don't even see what it is that we're doing and why.
Yes. Say that again, girl. That I think that's what happens so much. Is we're so stuck in the mud that we don't even. We're so used to having muddy boots
from our muddy puddles.
From our muddy puddles that we don't even realize, like. And yeah, we get so wrapped up in our own thoughts, and it's really interesting how self-absorbed we've become from social media. I feel like that's so how.
It's made us liars too. Like more of us is exposed or can be exposed, and we call ourselves like connecting to each other and like take a look at my life, but that's not your life. You angle it in such a way that it looks this way, or you hold the camera in such a way that your face looks this way. It's not catching the whatever tear stains or whatever, a big fat pimple or whatever on the other side.
Girl, right now how I have the camera set up, it's like optimal angles.
Optimal, everything optimal, right? You know,
right in front of the window, girl,
because the natural light does
come through
for the skin. Yes,
come
girl,
on.
You know?
But the glow is actual oils.
Okay, essential, thank you. Organic, cold press,
refined.
But I tell you, like the little snapshot that we give each other of our lives is not the actual, like, sometimes I wonder if somebody had to like judge my life based on my Facebook, what would they think? Because I've had people be like, well, you know, you just seem to have everything so together. And this is people who I've only ever like spoken to on Facebook. You just seem to have everything together and you're so creative and you're always doing something and you're always active. And I'm like, what? What? What?
And that's
I'm glad.
That's based on the 7 pictures that I've posted in the past year.
That's it. You know, you're so involved with your, and don't get me wrong, that's my effort, but you're not seeing the effort or the places that I fail miserably, or the places where my son's like, you don't listen to me, and you know, and my life is terrible.
My son writing me notes about how he wants his vegetable freedom.
Yes, vegetable freedom. They're not seeing all of that. They're just seeing, you know, you and your, I mean, who's going to post a picture of themselves when they first wake up in the morning and be like, I woke up like you?
Yeah.
You know?
Did you wake up like that, or did you just go to bed?
With a full face of makeup.
Your face is beat, as they say, to the gods.
Okay. Okay. Talking about I woke up like this.
You didn't smear at all while you slept?
Nothing. I don't understand it. Like, the snapshot we try to give is like we're all glammed out. We've got our own glam squad and we've got our own stylists and everything. And really, like, I mean, people's cameras are probably so full of all the pictures they didn't choose.
Girl, the deletion that you have to do.
Yes, you know, but it's all for attention.
It is.
And ego.
It is. I've posted a few selfies in my time, and every single time I have, like, there were so many pictures that I deleted before I was able to get like the selfie.
The one. Oh yeah.
The one. And it's exhausting for me. I that's why I don't post a lot of them, because it's exhausting on the level of like, it's just physically tiring because of how you have to like hold your hand and stuff. But then it's also draining because when you don't get a good picture, you remember that flaw that you saw.
Oh yeah. And
you can just go into a downward spiral like really, really, really fast.
The self-scrutiny is real.
Yeah.
Like it's I even noticed that though sometimes, like, speaking of caping our suffering for the world to see, you know, for attention, I see people do that. They'll like post a picture and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. And it's like, you just posted that so everybody would be like, oh my gosh, no, look at your calf muscle, it's so beautiful, and look at your, like, just so people can tell you how beautiful you are. Wouldn't it be something if we could just honestly be like, guys, I'm feeling really insecure right now, and in all honesty, like, I don't know what I need, but I'm just feeling really insecure, and I just need a little bit of love in whatever form you got it to give. Like, if we were just honest, like, and just said, like, today I just feel hideous. I feel bad. and I'm being real. Like, I don't feel, but then again, why would you post that?
Why would you post that? See, that's the danger. That's the downward spiral, because we're looking for love in all the wrong places. And but that's a perfect example, because I think that's how it starts, and that's going back to what you said. You know, you don't purposely think, oh, I'm gonna go on here and vie for people's attention, and you know, because I really feel a way right now, and I don't know where to look to get this from, and so I'm gonna go on social media, and a lot of times it's like a couple people that we have in mind.
Yeah.
That
or even one.
Yeah. That you see a lot too. Because you're like, who are you talking to?
This is for, why do we all have to see
Why do we all have to see this? Whoever is stabbing you in the back, just go snatch the knife from their hand. But yeah, I think it starts off from a true place of like, I just feel yucky and I need to feel better. But again, I don't think it's satisfying, because you see the pattern over and over again. You know, like the example that you gave of people posting a picture of themselves and being like, oh, look how fat I look. But like the pose though doesn't suggest that you feel fat.
No, you got the one foot in front of the other so the butt pokes out a certain way, girl.
You like did a full on like from the rear, like look how fat I look. I mean, you want us to compliment your butt? Because I can, basically, it's beautiful, you know. But
good for you, girl. I don't know what to say.
The words in the pictures aren't matching.
Yep. And you know, I think, like, I was looking at this thing where it was saying that pain and suffering are messages to your body. Same way, like mental pain and anguish is like a message to your higher self, that something in your life is wrong, or in your body, it would be something in your body is wrong. Something's going on that you need to give attention to. You need to give attention to, and
not everybody else.
And make the movements that need to be made to get out of that situation. I think, you know, I feel like those of us who are really finding ourselves in places of true suffering, it doesn't mean that this doesn't happen where you're trying to get attention in ways, but like when you're in that level of pain that you're saying that you're in, the focus should be on how to deal with the issue that this pain and this suffering is alerting you to. And that it needs your attention. So by vying for everybody else's attention, it allows you to distract yourself from putting the attention inward and keeping it, you know, on the usual stuff, on what everybody else thinks and what everybody else. But maybe the very thing that your pain is telling you is that, like, you need to focus on you. You need somebody else to tell you you're worth it. You've got this, but you're not like drawing from inside.
Sorry.
Like, I gotta switch this around. I don't know.
Because it was annoying me. I kept feeling, and I didn't want to touch it on my chest. I didn't want to keep touching my chest. Sorry.
Yeah.
You were doing really well.
No, it's just an interesting thing, like what pain and suffering actually are, and that it's a message to us. It's not a message for everyone else. The message is to you to look at what's wrong, figure out how to fix it. Then if you can't figure it out, then it is on you to like go and look for ways that you can get help and accountability and follow through on getting it better if you're really ready for that. But anything short of that is just noise. Like, I was thinking about, you know, I remember being an athlete, and I remember running for my life at practice hard. I remember running so hard sometimes that, like, on my thighs, I could see like broken blood vessels on my skin from where, like, I had just, I don't know, like, you know, and it wouldn't be all over, but it would be places to see the pattern of like a blood vessel that broke, and, like the bruising or the bleeding through. And yeah, like, but then you so imagine that pain and suffering was real, but then I go and I get the attention. I go to the trainers, they give me my stim, they rub me out, they put me in the ice bath, they give me a thing with cellophane taping these giant bags of ice to my thighs, and I'm walking around and I'm going everywhere I don't need to go, just because, like, you know,
with my ice bags.
With my ice bags, like, what? Nowadays I wouldn't even leave the house. But then I'm like, oh, I have to get a sandwich from the cafeteria, and you know, oh, I'm gonna go through the lobby instead of just going to the elevator right here. And it's because, like, you look tough. Like, look at you. Like, wow, you really practiced hard today. Yes, I did. You know,
for the school.
For the US of A. And then I would go back to my room where I know good and well that I should be drinking water and stretching. You think I'm doing that? No, I'm in the lobby chatting it up with whoever, I'm doing whatever. Even, you know, it's just, how you can bypass even what you need to be doing because you're distracted by this other thing that's a temporal like itch on your brain.
Yeah.
Rather than dealing with the thing itself. I can just think of so many ways in my life
Girl,
that I've done
me
that.
too. What you were saying about, instead the place that we need to start for healing is going inward. And I think it's I forget where I read it, but it was a change of heart versus change of behavior. And a lot of times we change our behavior for that itch, but what really needs to happen is our heart needs to change. So like what you were saying about pain and suffering, it's telling us that there's something going on inside that we need a shift in. And even when you see people like, oh, she's so kind and so sweet and such a good person, I can't imagine why she's going through all that. There's something signaling inside of her that even deeper needs to be a change of heart, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form we want somebody to be going through suffering or anybody deserves, it's just a way of getting our attention, I feel like it's God's way of getting our attention and saying, look, I have something more and greater for you than just the stuff on the surface, but you have to go deep. And everybody has different levels, like we were saying before, like everybody has a different level for what they can handle. But a lot of times, just because we don't want to, we say we can't.
Oh yeah. I can't do that.
Can't. I just
yeah.
Not
another step. You're like, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
If I put a candy bar at the top of that stair.
Oh my goodness.
To make it up there.
Girl, I remember being at practice at times where you run your brains out, especially if it was like just the girls practicing. But let me tell you, like you'd be summer track or like summer track and field in high school. So we're out there training. And the football team used to have practice. Girl,
come on.
They would start practicing in the summertime. You be out there dying. It's hot. It's still summer. You've been running for forever. You are exhausted. Your coach is barking at you and everything else. Next thing you know, the football players are out there. Girl, do you know I will run like a gazelle.
The energy.
Oh my
graceful.
gosh. Oh, my face. I'm making sure my face is relaxed so I don't look all like I'm grimacing. It's amazing how fast it can change, and that should teach us something about mentality. Because there's this guy, I can't remember, I know his last name is Goggins, I think. He's a Marine, and he talks a lot
tell the story
about pain. And this is somebody who I think he like ran 230 something miles nonstop, ran for 39 hours.
That's
straight.
incredible.
I can barely even stay awake for 39 hours, let alone be running 39 hours straight. And for him, he was saying, this has nothing to do with me loving to run. I'm training for life. Life isn't easy. And I've been a wuss all my life. And now I'm not going to be that anymore. And I understand that on the other side of suffering and pain is a whole new me, a whole new awareness of like what I'm able to do, a relinquishing of fear. Even because when you realize you can, then you're not as afraid of that thing anymore. When you realize, yeah, it might come, but I can handle it. I got this. And so I don't know, that really shows us a lot. I think it's just, we live in a society that's so like instant gratification. I mean,
Girl.
Instant. You want attention? Just post something on Facebook and you'll get tons of attention. You don't have to work the same way for the same things anymore. Instant gratification. So we don't know how to go through the suffering and the pain that is in life.
Girl.
And it's real.
Girl. Okay, so two things that you made me think about just now when you were saying that. The first thing being like real change takes time. We can make up our minds that we're going to change a plethora of things, but it takes time to really ingrain that into our systems, right? And then the other thing, when you were talking about the guy that was running and like how he was able to put his body through those things, it's a point of decision. Like, it's one thing when someone else is inflicting it on us.
Yeah.
It's another thing when and telling us, you be tough, you do right. Like, it's another thing when we make the decision within ourselves to be like, you know what? I've decided I'm pushing myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not pushing myself for you or you or you. I'm pushing myself for me.
Yep.
Because the reality is like for those of us who like are religious or spiritually minded, we don't need to change for God's sake, right? We need to change for our sake. Like he's good. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be the same, but we need to change for us. The change is for us. It's for our lives. It's for what we see about ourselves. And so when you come to a space where you're like, you know what? I'm making a choice for how I'm going to go through this. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm making a choice for how I'm going to deal with this. And it's up to me, you know, to make these choices in my mind, like how I want this to look, how I want this to go.
Oh yeah.
It's just like when the football players showed up on the field. Suddenly you can run with your back straight, and it's amazing. It's a miracle.
Exactly. And it's not that the pain subsided. It's just that I decided to be different about it. Like I wasn't going to look like I was in pain, you know? It still hurt. It still sucked. Like I still wanted to not be, I wanted practice to be over, but at the same time, I was not going to shrink at the opportunity to show what a gazelle, what a fine specimen I was. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't that tired that I could capitalize on a moment. You know what I'm saying? And that's what our coaches knew. That's also it. See, here's the other thing that I was thinking about also when you were talking, was that how easy it is sometimes for us. We have to be really careful that we don't give a woe is me look at somebody, or like woe is you look at someone else, like, oh yeah, that really looks painful. Sometimes you have to like honor the fact that somebody's tough and see them for who they can be, and not for where they were or where they're stuck at, but also see where they can be and the transformation that could be taking place. So like with my coaches, they knew we had another gear. That's what they were training us for. And if we didn't have it yet, they were putting it into us. And so it wasn't their job to be like, oh my gosh, are you tired? Oh my gosh, do your feet hurt? Do your legs hurt? Are you done? You've got 6 more. And you better do them fast, you know? Because if I catch you, you're going to have 3 more, you know? Like, I think it also makes me just think about that with other people, because I'm a very heart-centered person. I have a lot of empathy, and it gets me into trouble where you feel so much with someone. People can either take advantage of you in that, or sometimes you're giving them what they don't need in the moment. What they didn't need was your pity. What they needed was for you to see the higher them and speak to that. You know, and not speak to the base, you know, woe is me. Oh, you know, feel bad for me person. You know, exactly, you know, and because you don't honor anybody.
Yes.
Doing that. You don't edify them or what their journey is. You're not really respecting their the space that they're in. You know, you don't go up to a guy in the military training, in basic training, to become a Marine during Hell Week by oh my gosh, you look at him and you're like, come on, like this is what you're here for, and this is life, this is what we're here for. It's not supposed to be easy and simple, and we're supposed to be constantly rising. We're not in grade school anymore where we get an A+ and a B or a check or a star or a smiley face on anything. Like the ante is up, because when you're younger, you want small things. As you grow, you want more and more and more for yourself. So it costs something. More than dollars. It costs you shedding old skin, and that shedding old skin is not easy. But don't to disrespect that journey by being like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry that you're shedding that old dusty skin, you know, that old saggy, nasty,
Doesn't
dusty
fit you anymore.
Yeah, we're supposed to be saying, you got this, you got it.
Exactly. I think
got
that's the difference. I think that's what it is. Like, it's not just, it's not a matter of like, it's not that I don't feel for you. It's that I know that you have something inside of you, and I'm gonna speak life to you. I'm not gonna speak negative to you, or talk down to you, or, you know, stand on your toes and tell you to do it. You know, that's for, you know, the coaches and the Marines and all that stuff. But like in life, when we're dealing with our children and our friends and things, it's you know what? I hear you, but I also know that you have something inside of you, and I want you to grow. And I feel like if you do this, you're gonna grow from it. You know, I feel like if you're gonna do this, you can grow from it. And if you know, just put your mind to it, I believe in you. I think you're amazing. I think you know, you can speak life in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that woe is me, and you don't want to pity someone, because pity is also a judgment.
Oh yeah.
It's also a judgment. You're saying, oh, look at you down there, you know, unable to deal with the stresses and of like, well, the reality is like they're equipped.
You know,
they're equipped. I mean, you want to reach out and help. If you can help somebody like out of a pit, then obviously you help them. But some struggles people have to make it through on their own, and they have to realize that about themselves first.
No, it's so true. I even think about like the other day when I called you having a complete meltdown over homeschooling. It's so hard.
It's hard.
I am freaking out. I don't know what to do. I think I made a mistake. I guarantee you, because you were like, you can do this. Here's some material to read or to watch. Girl, listen, you got this. But if you had even said to me, then quit. You're right. It's hard. Just stop. I'd have been like, no, I want to try. Well, then what you want my phone for? then go and do it, you know? Like, it makes me think about that too. Because I try that reverse psychology on Io sometimes, where she'd be like, I can't put it on. I can't. I'd be like, well, then don't put your shoes on and don't go outside. It's okay. You can stay right here next to me while I read this big, fat, boring book with no pictures. You can do that. Or you can go outside with your brothers.
You can go outside with your brothers if you just put those shoes on.
I'd be like, but too bad you can't. She'd be like, wait, I can. Look, now the shoes might be on the wrong foot, but the girl got some get to it and put on the shoes. And I think that's part of the funny complexities of being a human being. Like,
so funny.
You know, we'll say we can't, and then when someone else agrees with us, we'll be like, what?
So you don't think I can?
What are you trying to say? I got some kind of deficiency? I'm stunted in some way? What are you trying to say to me right now? Like, you know?
I think you might be crazy, but I don't know.
You know, make up your mind. You either can or you can't, but only you know this. And if somebody else agrees with you and says, yeah, girl, it's too hard for you. You don't have what it takes. You're too weak. You're too poor.
Sorry.
You ain't pretty enough. Can you imagine?
Go on, Miss Silly.
You know? You're homely. You're simple. Girl, I mean... You got a droopy eye.
It's just one
you ain't got no rhythm.
Legs hanging behind.
Your hair was this long. Like, I mean, if somebody were to say that to you, you'd be like, you got nerve. You're like, I'm just feeding back to you the energy you're putting out to me, telling me all the reasons why you can't. You are everything but saying you are defective in life. Like, you are everything but saying there's something wrong with me. I need to go back to the factory so they can fix me. Like,
and you want me to build you up instead of you building yourself up.
Yes. And the fixing happens by going through it. There's no factory reset. Like, there's no send you back and let them put that part that was missing. it comes through this. So
Right.
like, do this. No?
Do it.
But I wonder what it is about our psychology, like why we have to go through all those steps, why we have to go through all those and honestly, I feel like that's not an issue that was as rampant during our parents' generation at all. I don't think that I'm not saying it never happened. I'm saying I don't think it was as accepted for someone to just be like, woe is me, I can't get a job. People be like, look, all of us is Black folk. None of us can get a job. What do you mean? You can't do a garden? You can do what you can because you have to, because survival necessitated it. Yeah. You had to know how. That's why you got people our parents' age and our grandparents' age who know how to do all kinds of stuff like that we don't know, either we don't know how to do, or, and honestly, I feel like our generation was a little lucky. Like, I think we kind of came by. Yeah, you know?
I feel like some of it has to do with the amount of comparison that happens nowadays compared to the amount of comparison they had. You know, they just felt like the playing field was pretty level for all of them. Like you said, everybody's got to go up and you got to, whatever you can do, go do it, you know? And they learned that from a very young age because they had to help out around the house. They had to help out in different ways from very young.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me growing up, me and my sister always joke, like if we would ask my dad how to spell something, he would just be like, go look it up in the dictionary.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but psychology, does it start with an S or a C? I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
And so
can I tell you?
That's
Lachey, yesterday I gotta talk quiet. Yesterday I had my child write something. And then I went through and checked it for grammar and spelling. And the words that were misspelled, I put on a list and I said, we're going to learn how to spell these words correctly. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Do you know, I heard him in the room asking Alexa, how do you spell? I was like, I had to call him out and be like, we not doing that. That's you got to learn how to work. Use your fingers. Get a book. Go get the book. Don't even do Google. Get a book. Don't even do Google Dictionary. Go get the book and use your finger. Find it. Because along the way, you're going to have to like see all types of other words. And you're going to have to, you know, you might see another word there and realize, oh, I didn't know that was spelled that way. Now I know on your way to get it.
It's a learning experience. Because I tell Farai the same thing. I'm like, you know how to use Google already. I know that for a fact. You know how to use Google. You know how to use, what is it? Okay, Google or whatever, you know, the same thing as Alexa. So you know how, I know you know how to use that. You have that skill. So I need you to make sure you know how to use an encyclopedia and a dictionary, even if they're going to be obsolete at some point. I just feel like that, you know, going back to like, it was annoying when our dad would tell us that, but at the same time, it set up a mindset in me for try to figure it out. You know, don't wait so long that you get in trouble and you because I don't want that either, because I think, you know, I kind of went to the extreme on the other way where I don't ask for help when I should be asking for help. A separate situation. But I do, you know, I do try to fix it myself the first time. And I see that in Farai, and I really like it about him. Like, he'll try to figure it out, you know? He'll try to figure out something first. It might not be the greatest effort, but it's like,
You've got to.
Girl.
You have to.
The tape. The amount of tape that I've seen. I'm like, oh, baby.